This is the Tesla 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 23rd, 2023, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Tesla in extended hours is currently $233.70 at the time of this reading. And the shuffle video we're about to play for you for the January reading was created on October 25th, 2023 at 9:12 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the corner. So the overall theme and behavior for Tesla in the month of January is going to be, it looks pretty mixed, guys. We've got overall theme would be revisiting a support level that we recently met once before. And there's two ways that plays out on a 1 month theme. Either we see the same support level more than once in the same month, in the month of January, or we're revisiting a support level from the previous month. It looks to me like in this case, we're probably revisiting the same support within the month of January. It's crossed with an important support level, or excuse me, an important resistance level that it's highlighted, and we've met it many times before and failed to break through it. It'll be highlighted throughout at some point throughout the month. And then behavior on the high side, we have the change card. So sideways fluidity, equal amounts of bulls and bears, inflow and outflow. So we probably have some price swings, and we likely see the high more than once. Probably see the high twice, at least twice. And then behavior around the lowest low, we have a new high within close time proximity to the lowest lows of the month. So by new high, I mean like on like a multi-day scale, not necessarily like for like all-time high or something like that. But there is some probability of a highest high or first highest high for the month of January, or for the year of 2024 here in January, based on the 1 month. Now we have the abundance card here. I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. Also looks like the highs and the lows are within close time proximity to each other. Before we go any further, though, I want to make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. You do that by following the rule of karma for the channel, which is the unwritten agreement between the universe and people utilizing this information for profit. As long as you follow through on the rule of karma, the universe will allow you to continue profiting from this information, but you must follow through. The universe is expecting this of you. So when you have a profitable trade utilizing this information, make sure to go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and donate 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities. Just click on a link here and donate. It's super easy. And then 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel. Say thank you and support the channel through one of the links here. If you're international, you can use Wise, or you can use YouTube's tipping capabilities as well. That leaves you at 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, my friends, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor, and it's going to send it back to you tenfold through the channel. Neglect to follow through, and the universe will shut off the flow of abundance through this channel very, very quickly, my friends. All right, so it's important to understand that each card represents 1 day of time, but not each card's energy is going to line up perfectly with 1 day of time. So you have to give it like plus or minus a day of wiggle room. In a lot of cases, you'll find that it's 100% accurate as far as timing. In some cases, you need to give it plus or minus wiggle room, a day of wiggle room. But in either type of scenario, the second of which is much less likely, but in either scenario, what you want to do is you want to make sure you follow the sequence of events of chart behavior, because that will keep you on track even when we veer off a little bit, like plus or minus a day on timing. We usually come back when we veer off. We usually find ourselves back on timing eventually. And so here on it looks like on the first, or the prior day, the last day of the prior month, or the last day of the prior year, I should say, it looks like we probably gap up, and then we have erratic behavior. There's like a peak on the second that's revisited that we recently met once before, and there's erratic behavior back and forth there through the same price level and a trade opportunity I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. On the third, we have a trough early in the day. It's a prominent trough on a 1 month scale, and there's a sideways fluctuating rally out of that trough. That rally does proceed a decline, which takes place on the fourth. A notable decline on the fourth, and another trade opportunity I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. On the fifth, we do sideways crisscrossing back and forth through the same price level, first to the upside, then to the downside, and then back up. Usually we confirm a bullish trend in that sort of scenario, and then we have price swings on the second. It's interesting. It's a very similar energy to the fifth. So probably like whatever kind of swinging was going on, whatever price swings are going on here on the eighth, they probably started here on the fifth. We end up in a prominent high at the end of the day with a big move to the upside right there at the end of the day on the eighth, or on the cusp of the eighth, ninth. And then on the ninth, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance and a notable decline through key support. Another prominent trough either on the 10th or the 11th. Hard to say, but let's go with the 10th. There's a move higher out of that trough to a peak at the end of the day, and then we've declined with like a full retracement of that move back down into the 11th, or on the 11th into another prominent trough for the month on the cusp of the 11th, 12th. On the 12th, however, out of that trough, we have a big move higher, breakout on a multi-day scale, and we meet a prominent crest there, peak or crest there midday on the 12th. Guys, if you're interested in the paid version, it's a really great way to support the channel. Basically, what you get in the paid version is you get everything we talk about in the public version, but then you also get the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows, not just the prominent highs and peaks, but the highest of them and the lowest of them. You also get price level information, in many cases, not all, cross-reading congruency information, and then any trades that are relevant on a multi-month scale or a multi-year scale. And then its performance overall in relation to the S&P 500. The way that you get the paid version, guys, I know the names of everybody. I recognize the names of everybody that subscribes for the paid version of these monthlies, because they're really the core foundation of support for the channel. You go to our website, tarotfortraders.com, hover over our services, click on SO Meta Posts, scroll down to monthly subscription, click here to order, and then you're going to scroll to Tesla right here, subscribe, $111 a month. Or if you're interested in the paid version of any or all of these thickers, I highly recommend getting the 30 days access to all paid. It also includes Amazon, Google, and NVIDIA, and the only way to get the paid version of those is with this 30-day paid, our most popular subscription yet. But thank you to everybody that goes ahead and does that. Blessings. Oh, and let's take a look at our Tesla reading for November and see how we're doing thus far. I don't think this was one of our best ones. This might have been our second worst one thus far that we've taken a look at. And it's still not horrible. It's just like we had a difficult time determining the lowest lows. There's indications of one around the 8th, 9th. We sort of got that, but really the lowest low was here first thing in the first day of the month. And in a lot of readings, we kind of had it for the third rather than the first, ended up being the first. So something was throwing us off there. But in any case, we were pretty close as far as lowest lows go for most of the readings. Here we have a trough that stands out. We also have a prominent peak on the 6th. You can see that prominent peak on the 6th, a prominent peak on the 8th. You can see that prominent peak on the 8th. A decline on the 9th that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. And then you can see the following day with the trade opportunity there, you would have been able to close that long position in the midst of a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. And that would have been one of the trades we talked about in the paid version that would have paid off very profitably. Or if you held it until the 13th, which would have probably been recommended as well, would have been an even bigger gain. Or the 14th, you can see how there's this big move on the 13th, right, the star card, and then we have an even bigger move reaching for distant resistance there on the 14th, and you can see what I mean by reaching for distant resistance. What's also interesting is I've just learned something about these ruins. And the way these ruins are set up, it was kind of telling me there would be a gap there, and I kind of missed that. But now I'll notice that moving forward. That's interesting. Thank you to my guides for that extra bit of information. On the 15th, we have a peak, a near overbought peak that we sell off from pretty notably through multiple supports. I mean, this is really accurate. Aside from us missing the lowest low by a couple days, we have a highest high predicted for, probably our highest high thus far on the 28th. No, excuse me, probably our highest high thus far on the 29th, a higher high on the 28th, and then maybe even a higher one there on the 29th or the 30th. But this is looking pretty solid. Aside from us having difficulty pinpointing exactly where the lowest low was, we were close. Everything else seems to be pretty on point. And let's get back into it. We probably opened lower on the 16th than where we closed on the 12th. In either case, there's a notable decline. There's like a failed attempt to break the key resistance on the 16th, probably early in the day, followed by a decline through key support, taking us to another prominent trough for the month, and another prominent trough early in the morning on the 17th, and a period of volatility, a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility, taking us to that trough early in the day. And then on the 18th, another trade opportunity, we'll talk about it in the paid version, with sideways rotation, and then a fast sudden move higher that stands out in that period of sideways rotation. Likely open lower on the 19th. Either that or there's a decline at the end of the day on the 18th or early in the day on the 19th. Either that or a gap down on the 19th. But in either case, that decline or gap down, we end up moving higher from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range. Usually a pretty big move there. There's a speaker there. I think that move to the upper end of the range probably continues over the weekend into the 22nd. And then there's a prominent peak on the 22nd. A lot of price change there, allowing, with the resistance level that's highlighted, allowing for trading in both directions, which I'll explain in more detail in the paid version. On the 23rd, another prominent trough with a U-shaped dip, and then another peak on the cusp of the 23rd, 24th. A lot of price change and volatility on the 24th. On the 25th, there's an important price level highlighted it's important on like a 1-year chart minimum scale. And then sideways rotation on the 26th. A lot of price change on the 29th, a big move on the 29th, and an opportunity that'll stand out as a really like a prominent opportunity or a really auspicious opportunity on a multi-day scale when it'll stand out amongst other opportunities that we talk about on a multi-day scale throughout the year. It's also cross-reading congruency. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version, but very likely a prominent peak there and a trade opportunity. And then we decline from that peak into the 30th, with increasing with momentum as we move forward into the day. And then on the 31st, we rally. Out of that decline, we rally on the 31st along a diagonal trend line. That diagonal trend line ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. The sneak preview for February is a period of volatility, and a fast sudden move higher that ends that period of volatility. Also very likely another prominent peak on the 31st towards the end of the day. In any case, that's Tesla for January 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. It really helps out the channel. Most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma. It's important, guys. If you plan to profit from this information, you must follow through. You know where to go to the resources tab of our website. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version.